This is LBC News.
A teenager has been sentenced to more than 9 years in jail after causing a crash in Oxfordshire that killed 3 friends. Thomas Johnson had inhaled nitrous oxide in the vehicle before the collision in June of 2023. LBC News reporter Rachel Mather is following the case.
Overtaken at what she described as extreme excessive speed. A matter of seconds later, they've come around the bend to find debris in the road and the same vehicle that's overtaken her in the trees.
That was the scene that police met after a horror crash in Marcham that claimed 3 young lives. Ethan Goddard, Elliot Pullen and Daniel Hancock all died when the car they were in hit a tree in June 2023. Today, the driver, 19-year-old Thomas Johnson, has been jailed for 9 years and 4 months. Sergeant Matt Cadmore was one of the first on the scene and remembers the night well.
I would describe them as children, 18 and 17, and ultimately then it was the task of sadly giving the worst news to the parents that anyone would ever expect.
Johnson was driving at speeds of more than 100 miles per hour and had consumed nitrous oxide, something he was unable to recall in his police interview.
We were told that you were inhaling nitrous oxide from a balloon in the car. Do you remember that?
No recollection at all.
Sergeant Tony Jenkins has told us what the impact of inhaling the drug, which was legal at the time but has since been banned, can have.
In effect, it produces a short high for 1 to 5 minutes, but it does have an effect for 30 to 45 minutes afterwards. So you may not feel that you're impaired, but clearly navigating road junctions, it will have an impact on your decision making.
A 5th friend who'd been with the group earlier that night told police others in the car had also inhaled the drugs. Sergeant Jenkins says this tragedy will leave a lasting impression on everyone involved.
Just something that strikes me throughout the case is appreciating the impact this has had on the 3 males that have died, but also the impact on Thomas, the impact on his family, the impact on the wider community. It's always a choice to say no, to highlight to the driver that you feel vulnerable, and I'd encourage people to do so because it all goes wrong so very quickly.
This is Capital.
From Global's newsroom, I'm Rachel Mather.
I led a perfectly normal life until Downton Abbey. No, I'm not kidding.
The voice of Dame Maggie Smith there, whose death was announced today. From Shakespeare to Sister Act, the 2-time Oscar-winning actress was a legend of stage and screen. For younger generations, though, it's her iconic portrayal of Professor McGonagall in the Harry Potter series for which she'll be remembered.
The House of Godric Gryffindor has commanded the respect of the wizard world for nearly 10 centuries. I will not have you in the course of a single evening besmirching that name by behaving like a babbling, bumbling band of baboons.
Maggie Smith, who's died at the age of 89.
This is LBC.
As we end the year with nearly 87,000 people in prison across England and Wales, a charity's told LBC News that football could be key to rehabilitation. The Twinning Project, which partners clubs with jails so inmates can get FA coaching qualifications, has been found to reduce violence and reoffending. Our reporter Rachel Maid has been speaking to an ex-Premier League player about how a stint in jail led to stardom.
Oh, brilliant goal! A great goal by Jamie Lawrence.
Jamie Lawrence found fame as a right winger for clubs like Leicester, Bradford and Sunderland, but his life could have taken a very different turn. As a youngster, he was in HMP Camphill on the Isle of Wight when a Boxing Day football match against a semi-professional team changed his future.
Managed to score 2 goals, and then they went to the prison office and asked for me to get let out every weekend to play for his team.
From the jail cell to the football pitch, Jamie's career took off because someone took a chance on a teenager in trouble.
I went straight from prison on trial to Southend. I got better and better. I went to Sunderland. England captain Terry Butcher was the manager at the time. He sat me down, he's gone, son, I'm going to sign you. My life had changed. So I went to Doncaster Rovers. 10 months after, I was playing in the Premier League with Leicester.
And it's still Jamie Lawrence. Oh, and he's done it again!
That belief that sport can change lives has spurred Hilton Freund to use football as a tool for reform. His charity, the Twinning Project, partners local clubs with prisons to train inmates and get them FA-recognised coaching qualifications.
They now have a desire to turn their lives around. We're seeing improved mental and physical well-being, less violence. Over 95% of the people in our prisons will be released. They will be walking up and down our high streets. If we do not work with these individuals, we can't expect them to be different people when they get out. And we've got examples of young men now working as coaches in their clubs, that are working in the finance department of a club.
The success of Hilton's programme can be seen in graduates like Stephen. After committing drug offences as a youth, he used the skills of the Twinning Project to get a job with Lincoln FC.
Mentally, it's pushing them towards a better mindset. So if you're in a prison which wants you to change and is giving you opportunities, I definitely think it will push you in the right direction.
Stephen's success shows how sports programmes could help a government that's facing an overcrowded prison system and reduce the startling statistic that more than a quarter of offending is re-offending. And for Jamie, who regularly holds talks in prisons, there's hope the power of football can help others like him.
A lot of these prisoners want to turn their life around. There's not one person who's not made a mistake. The past you cannot change, but you can change your future.
From Global's newsroom, I'm Rachel Mather. We are eternally in their debt. Those are the words of King Charles as he spoke about the sacrifices of D-Day veterans. Members of the royal family have been in Portsmouth to mark 80 years since the Normandy landings, which paved the way for an Allied victory in the Second World War. We've heard from Jack Mortimer, who was there in 1944.
Vehicles all over the place, and it's like organised chaos. Of course, there are shells flying over the top, and you're a soldier, you've got your orders, and you've got to follow your orders out.
The anniversary has brought generations together to reflect on the events of June 1944. These school children have told us it's important for younger people to learn about D-Day.
You see all the important people from like the Navy and like all the veterans that come here. It's so nice.
It makes me very happy to see that no one's forgotten it.
Commemorations will take place in Normandy tomorrow morning at the same time the beach invasion began all those years ago.
This is LBC.
So after the opening ceremony, Saturday sees the first day of the swimming at the Paris Olympics. And the heats are up first with Kieran Bird from Oxfordshire hoping to make it all the way to the medal podium. LBC News reporter Rachel Mather has been talking to his family and former coach.
He had, from quite a young age, this aspiration to get to the Olympics. At the time, I didn't really, I thought it was a bit over aspirational, to be honest.
It's fair to say it's been a bit of a journey for 24-year-old Kieran Bird, a boy from Bicester turned local hero who today is taking to the pool at the Paris Olympics for Team GB. It's all still sinking in for mum Mandy, who's been his biggest fan right from the start.
Kieran's loved swimming since he was a baby. I took him from almost a newborn, and at 9 years old, he was seen swimming with one of the guys was a member of the Bicester Bluefins. So they asked me if he'd come along for a trial, and initially, actually, because he wasn't particularly keen, but he went along and he enjoyed it, and it's been a bit full on ever since.
One of his first coaches at Bicester Bluefins remembers those early days very well. Neil Blunstone has been telling me about the young boy's commitment to the sport.
He was an amazing swimmer right from those early stages, and you could see his determination to achieve the best he could. It takes a huge amount of time and commitment to make it to being the top. Kieran, when he was a teenager, would have been doing something like 15 hours a week. And on top of that, he would have been doing strength and conditioning work, then studying as well.
And it's that dedication which has taken Kieran to the very top of his sport after first qualifying for the Team GB Olympic squad in 2021.
He is very dedicated to his swimming. I was never one of those parents that had to drag him out of bed when he was getting up at about 4:30, 5.
From dream to reality, he's set to compete in the 400-metre freestyle today. Mandy and the rest of Kieran's family have flown out to Paris to cheer him on. And for those supporting him at his first club back in Bicester, his legacy stands strong.
For the club, it's amazing. These young swimmers can look and see a boy from Bicester who has gone through the lessons programme, gone through the swimming club, and is now over in the Olympics.
This is Heart. 1 o'clock, here's the latest.
From Global's newsroom, I'm Rachel Mather.
I have just returned from Buckingham Palace, where I accepted an invitation from His Majesty the King to form the next government of this great nation.
Sir Keir Starmer is officially the new Prime Minister. Labour won 412 seats in the general election. Here it was a big night for Amanda Martin, who's the new Portsmouth North MP, after she beat Penny Mordaunt by just 780 votes. She says she's ready to get going.
I've been a teacher for 24 years, so education is absolutely at the heart of everything. And I think the policies that the Labour Party have put forward will really make a difference.
There were gains for the Lib Dems in Winchester and in Chichester, where Jess Brown-Fuller unseated former Education Secretary Gillian Keegan. There were also big changes over in Dorset, with Bournemouth East, Bournemouth West and Poole all turning red. Tory names like Suella Braverman and Caroline Noakes both kept their seats in Fareham and Waterlooville and Bromsey and Southampton North, respectively. Stay with us for all the latest throughout the day. From Global's newsroom, I'm Rachel Mather. A report into a barge used to house asylum seekers in Dorset has found there are widespread mental health problems. Former residents have told charities about their experience on the Bibby Stockholm. Our reporter, Joseph Draper, has been down in Portland for us. Joseph, what exactly have some of them claimed?
They said the cramped conditions left them feeling paranoid and like they were going insane, with staff watching their every move. Now, residents are allowed to leave the barge for certain periods of time, but many say they were put off doing so by the airport-style security in place.
And we've had a response from the government. What have officials been telling you, Joseph?
Well, Home Office say they don't recognise the claims made, but that there are vigorous safeguarding processes in place. This all comes just one day after the government's controversial Rwanda bill passed, and it's possible many of the residents on board could be among those the Prime Minister is hoping to fly to Rwanda.
This is LBC.
As teenagers across the UK head to university for Freshers' Week, there's a warning to stay vigilant on nights out. LBC News reporter Rachel Mather has been speaking to a woman who was spiked in Reading when she was a student.
We had some cocktails and I remember only having one. Me and my friends split the happy hour 2 for 1. And the next thing I know is I woke up the next morning.
That's Cara, whose story will be all too familiar to many students who've experienced spiking whilst on a night out at university. She'd gone out with friends to an off-campus bar in Reading, and it was there that she suspects she was drugged.
I wasn't in control of my body, wasn't really responding, so I had to be walked home. By walked home, I think they did have to pretty much carry me. And I remember waking up the next morning feeling very lethargic and out of it. I remember it feeling very scary, and I felt like ashamed, and I was confused, thinking, was it me?
On average, police receive 561 spiking reports a month, the majority coming from women. Forces will be on high alert in the coming weeks as bars and nightclubs are packed with teenagers away at university for the first time. Thames Valley's Police and Crime Commissioner Matthew Barber has told us it's about protecting victims.
We see spiking taking place for sexual motives. That's why it's really important that the police take this seriously, and having uniformed and plainclothes officers out and about in the nighttime economy looking for predatory male behaviour.
Work has already been done to tackle spiking in university towns and cities. Hampshire Police recorded 91 offences between August and December last year, a drop from a peak of 212 in the same period back in 2021. Chief Superintendent Claire Jenkins says anyone who suspects they've been spiked should report it straight away, particularly as this year the force has invested in multi-drug urine test kits.
It's a really quick way of us being able to establish whether or not a drink has been spiked. This is all about that opportunity to catch perpetrators as soon as possible and to prevent any further offending. And individuals who are going out intending to behave in that way will be found and stopped and brought to justice.
All forces say they're working proactively to bring down levels of spiking, but Cara, who has since worked on campaigns to make nights out safer for women and girls, has this final message for new students this year.
Always be vigilant of your drink, don't leave it unattended, and also be vigilant of each other, making sure you're looking out for yourself and those with you.